Alright guys, so today we've got Nick and we're going to be talking about halters, halter sizes, how to put on a halter, how to adjust a halter, and bridling as well. So Nick has a pretty large head, as most quarter horses do, and so as you can tell, this halter is pretty snug on him. Okay, you can see that it's way up his nose. The little side cheek piece here barely goes past his jaw, and it just looks super snug. Okay, so I put this halter just as an example of what it would look like if a halter was too small. And you can adjust even the small halters. You can adjust it up here by unhooking that and putting it down on the bottom hole. And mind you, this halter has never been adjusted as long as I've had it, so I don't know if it's actually going to adjust. There we go. And you want to make sure that all these things are tucked in. Now you can see how that really loosened up on the throat latch here. Now I can't adjust this part, but I could adjust the nose piece. You can see the buckle underneath here. There's a buckle. Turn your head, Nick. There's a buckle here, and you can unbuckle it, which again, it's stiff, so I'm not going to do it, but it's the same deal as up here. You can loosen it. Okay, so that's not the ideal halter for him. I use this one for like Corona or Sweet Pea. So this one's tight on him. Not the end of the world if you grab it and use it to catch him, because it's not going to be on him for hours on end. But say if you were to put this on him and turn him out for a couple days, it would start to rub the hair off the nose and just wouldn't feel very good. Okay, so I'm going to change him to his actual halter so you guys can see the difference. So for those who grab Nick, his halter is actually the black and blue one. And so to change his halter, I'm going to throw the rope over his neck, so that way I have control over him even when I get the halter off, so I can still pull him by his neck and say, hey, come over here. Okay? Hey, buddy. He's such a patient boy. He even sees the grass over there. All right, so the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to wrap the rope in one hand, and I'm going to have myself all set up, okay? So it's easier for me to put it on him. So we're going to take this off. You're going to unclip it on the side here, like that. And then you're going to slide it over the ears. Okay, oh, grass wasn't very good apparently. I'm going to hang this one over my arm because I still have that other lead rope over his neck. And then I'm going to kind of adjust myself here and have it all set up. Hold on, I know there's grass. Hold on, I know there's grass. I'm going to take him by the nose. I'm going to slide it. Oops, get that rope out of the way. Slide it over his nose and over the ears. Now you can see how much longer that cheek piece is, right? And then how much easier it's just going to clip right on. It's a little bit looser. If I really wanted to, this is a little bit looser than I'd like it. I'm actually going to put that up a hole. It may have probably gotten used on like Leo or something. So I'm going to put that up a hole, so that way if he was to put his head down, he wouldn't by chance get a toe or something stuck in there. Because horses are very talented, and you're going to realize that they're super accident prone. Okay, so that's how you put a halter on. All right, so next, moving on to bridles. This is your average English bridle or a hunter bridle, even though, actually, yeah, hunter bridle, it's brown. So there's a couple different types of bridles, English bridles. There's your dressage bridle that usually comes with a flash that goes over the nose in front of the bit and just kind of helps keep their mouth closed a little bit if you have a horse that really likes to chomp. You have your hunter jumper bridle, which is this. You have your jumper bridles, which usually they look like this, but they're black, or you have the ones that have the figure 8 noseband. I'll put a picture in. And each discipline has different bridles if you're showing. So again, same ordeal. I'm going to keep that rope over his neck because I'm going to put the reins on. And then I'm going to go ahead. So I always make sure that I always have some sort of way to control my horse. So I'm going to take off the halter, slide that rope off, and now I have control over him with the reins that are now around his neck. Okay? Now you want to make sure, see, someone, possibly me, took off the noseband without actually undoing the noseband. I'll actually show you how you can put it on when the noseband is attached. There's some horses that I like doing that with just because they yawn and turn their head and they just get really complicated to put the noseband on, or they really try to delay the process. So I'm going to take the noseband and I'm going to hold it up onto my crown piece. This is the crown piece. This is your brow band, noseband, okay? And this is your cheek piece, and this is your throat latch, okay? So there's a ton of little pieces. So after this video, go online and look up parts of an English bridle. You guys should become very well versed in the terminology, because when I tell you that your throat latch needs to be tightened, I don't want you to look at me with a blank face. Okay, so noseband, I'm going to move the noseband up and hold it like that. Okay, now Nick's not always 100% the greatest at taking the bridle, so what I actually do is I have a treat. So once he takes it, I give him the treat and it makes him look forward to taking the bit. I actually do this with the majority of my horses. I'm going to then hold around his nose like this, so that way I have control over his head. And then I'm going to pass it into my hand. I'm going to spread the bit out like this, okay? I'm going to put the bit in my hand. So if you notice, when I take it, I put my hand underneath the bit, but I put my thumb through the bit like this so I can hold it out, okay? So I hold the bit out. So that way it doesn't clank them in the teeth, okay? Are you gonna show them? So you bring it up with the bit spread out like this. And again, he's not always 100% the greatest at taking the bit, so we're gonna be patient with him. Just stick our finger in the side of his lips here. He's like, no. Now mind you, this horse used to take 45 minutes to take a bit, so we're gonna be patient with him. And you will have a horse that doesn't necessarily want to take the bit, kind of like this guy. Bring it up to his mouth, and then we'll gently slide it in like that, and I'll pull up. He's like, where's my treats? And then I'll give him the treat, okay? And then I'm then going to drop my noseband, readjust up here, and then you always bend the ears forward. So outside ear forward and inside ear forward, okay? Hi, buddy. There you go. All right, so here comes the adjustment, because you can see how this is all crooked and this is all kind of down here. Now he's hoping for more treats. What a good boy. All right. So this bridle was originally gambled. It's a slight bit smaller than I would like it. When I go change his brow band, which reminds you, the brow band is this piece up here. I'm going to go another 1/2 inch longer. So I'm then going to adjust the noseband, by pulling this side down, okay? And then we're going to tuck the noseband into the cheek piece underneath here, and then tuck this piece in on the other side, just like that. So that way nothing is getting trapped. Because if you have it up and over, I know, now he's looking for treats. What can happen is it's going to then clamp down on the bit, which is then going to make communication hard, okay? So we'll kind of trap the bit and you won't be able to give proper communication. All right, so underneath, and then you're going to take the buckle. You want to make sure that it's one snug finger on the noseband underneath, okay? So you want to make sure it's one snug finger and attach it like that. You want to make sure that the leather is in its keepers, just because it looks a little bit nicer. And again, if a horse is to put its head down and by chance put its foot forward, it can step on that piece of leather and get itself stuck and get startled. All right, so next is your throat latch. And take this, stop moving, and you're going to attach to this piece right here. There's grass. Okay. All right, so then for this, you want to go through, and you want to make sure you can fit 3 fingers. So you guys see that. So 3 fingers this way, not this way, because that'd be the depth of 1. You want 3 fingers that way. All right. Just like so, and that's how you do your bridle. So like I said, this bridle is a little bit small for him. I think I want to say it's a cob size. It could be average horse. But the nice thing about most bridles is that they have a bunch of different holes that you can adjust them. So in order to adjust the bit, so the way you want your bit to sit in the horse's mouth is usually you want 1 wrinkle. So let me see if I can actually show you guys. So in the mouth here, you'll see right underneath there's 1 wrinkle, okay? If there isn't a wrinkle, the bit will then be sitting too low and can actually start hitting on the teeth down here, okay? If it's too low, it can start hitting on those teeth, and that's not comfortable. So I usually go with the 1 wrinkle rule. If you have it jacked up and you've got like 3 wrinkles, I know there are some people that go with 2 or 3 wrinkles. For me, I wouldn't want my mouth stretched out like that all the time. And then plus, if you think about it, when you pull back, that's stretching those lips even further. That just doesn't seem comfortable for me. So I always go with the 1 wrinkle rule, okay? And to adjust that, I'm not going to, because this bridle is actually pretty well adjusted for him, but you want to follow the strap that's attached to your bit and follow it up, and that's the buckle that you would adjust. Sometimes if you are confident in your leather handling skills, you can adjust it while it's on the horse. Usually what I'll do is I'll try and put it on. If it's too small, I won't put the horse through that. I'll take it off and put it down a couple holes, and then it's not so bad if you need to adjust it up a couple while it's on them. Now the biggest thing is sometimes the leather is stiff, and when you go to do it, sometimes it'll let go real quick. You can literally almost punch them in the side of the head. So just be careful, use common sense when it comes to adjusting your bridle. So that is the bridle and how you would adjust that. And the strap to adjust the noseband, again, is right on top of the bit, okay? So next, okay, we have to get Mac in the frame. He's hiding. We borrowed Nick's halter. So what I want you guys to do, and this question will be in your homework, so observe this halter if you think it's too big or too small or just right, or what you think. So I'll have you guys just kind of take a peek at that before I take it off. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is, let's move him out a little bit, is the bitless bridle. And what I really wanted to show you was the mechanical hackamore, but he actually has just been recently switched back to a bit, so we don't have the mechanical hackamore, but we have our bitless bridle, okay? So this is what your bitless bridle looks like. And you'll notice back here, there's an X. And the way the bitless bridle works is it puts pressure on around the jaw and around the underneath the face. So when you pull on, say, your left rein, it kind of pulls the whole like outside of the face to you and pulls underneath the jaw, okay? And when you pull on both reins to ask them to stop, it pulls down on the noseband, but also kind of tightens up on their face a little bit, so it kind of just gives them that constant pressure to ask them to whoa. There's some horses that do really well with this bridle, and there's some horses that don't. There's some horses that do better with what's called a side pull or the mechanical hackamore. So let's go ahead and put this on. So we are going to put the reins over the head, just like you would with a normal bridle, just like I showed you before. And then we're going to take the halter off, just like this. Don't go anywhere, come back. So I'm going to put my hand over his nose. And so for the bitless bridle, you want to make sure everything is straight. You're going to kind of pull apart the X on the bottom here. And it's going to go, his nose is going to go over the X, but under the noseband, okay? And that's where it gets kind of funny. And then you have to kind of pull the X to help get it up over the face. And he has a much larger head than Maddie, but this should work. So outside ear and inside ear. We're actually borrowing Maddie's bridle for this. All right, so we're gonna adjust the brow band and make sure everything is straight, okay? Now, one thing that I didn't cover with the other bridle is you wanna make sure that no noseband, especially with a bitless bridle, you wanna make sure that no noseband is too low, okay? This is about right. You want it kind of like a couple inches above the nostril, okay? And if you have a noseband that's too low, starting to get down towards here or even here, the bone actually starts to get thinner. And what can happen is if you pull on that too hard, you can actually fracture that bone or possibly even break it if you have to pull that hard. Now, if you have to pull that hard, you might want to go back to training. But also, if you have to pull that hard, your horse could also just be bolting. Things happen. There's no throat latch on this bitless bridle, so the only thing that you would have to do is just your noseband. And the rule still kind of applies on this, is like one snug finger. Usually with bitlesses, especially with this type of bitless, I go a little bit looser. So for him, I'm just going to go to the first hole, because it really doesn't need to be that snug on him. Okay, so even still, that's still one snug finger underneath there, okay? And like I had mentioned a minute ago, there's a couple different types of bitlesses. There's side pulls, and you could actually turn this into a side pull if you really wanted to. You could just attach reins to these rings here, and all it does is just pulls the nose like left and right. It just pulls on the side of their face a little bit lower, and then when you pull the stop, it just pulls on the nose. And again, I explained the mechanical hackamore. So that is it for bridles. We could also talk about the flash noseband as well, and like I said, that's used in dressage. It can also be used in jumpers. And like I said, usually there's a piece that attaches to the noseband, and it just goes above in front of the bit here and goes right under the chin, right underneath here. And that you want to be pretty snug, because the purpose of the flash is to help keep the mouth closed. If you have a horse that really likes to try to evade contact or really try to chomp at the bit. All right, guys, that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.